Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobby Capucci, and this is Daily Drop number 36. All right, so we have a couple of articles we're going to get into tonight. The first one is a pretty serious article, and the second one is a little less serious of an article. But the first one is about the memes and how it's taken a life of itself at this point, with, basically everybody getting involved with the Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself meme game. It doesn't matter the political spectrum. Just about everybody you know is posting about Jeffrey Epstein not killing himself. So we're going to take a look at this article and we're going to see what they have to say. Officially, Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. According to the FBI, the U.S. State Department, and the Metropolitan Correctional Center, which all point to an official coroner's report, because, none of them cover for each other, right? Epstein hanged himself with his own bedsheet. Hanged himself. They don't even go into the details of really how he hanged himself supposedly. A soft hanging from the second bunk. It's a big difference than hanging yourself from the roof. 3 separate investigations into how that happened are still ongoing. Of course, there are a few complications. The way Epstein's hyoid, a U-shaped bone in the front and middle of his neck, broke is more indicative of strangulation than hanging in most cases. A forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's brother suggested this in his own separate investigation. Also, the 2 guards who were supposed to be watching Epstein were asleep at the time of his suicide, and the footage of his cell at the time is unusable. What does that even mean? See, that's what we've gotten right. It's unusable. The cameras malfunction. They're broken. Come on. It takes you this long to figure out if the cameras were broken, and if they're not, when was the last time they were recording? Were they turned off, or did they break? Did they break everywhere, or just right there where they were watching Epstein? These are all easy answers that we could be getting from the DOJ or the Department of Corrections, but of course, no. And then they talk about, there's conspiracy theories flying everywhere. Well, you don't give anybody any information. This is an important story. People are going to talk about it. How about you guys come forward with a little bit of information? What do you think? As the once official cause of death has grown more complex, there has been a resounding wave of public suspicion that has appeared every day in a new viral form on social media to tout the theory that Epstein was murdered. There are a few counterarguments to the murder conspiracy theory. Pedophiles who are publicly exposed for their crimes, like Epstein in the weeks leading up to his death, are more likely to commit suicide. Well, not according to his lawyers, who said he was upbeat and they thought that they might have a way out of the case. Not guys with hubris like Jeffrey Epstein. In his mind, he wasn't a pedophile. He wasn't doing anything wrong in his mind. Epstein signed a new will 2 days before his death, which could be interpreted as premeditation, and the guards at the Manhattan prison were overworked and understaffed. Yeah, well, it could be premeditation for murder, could be premeditation for suicide, either way. But who knows what these people were talking to him about? Do we have recordings from the jail cell? I highly doubt it, right? He has confidentiality with his lawyer. So if somebody comes in and says they're part of the law staff, they can't record what's going on in that room. Regardless, surveys show at least 2 out of 3 Americans believe Epstein didn't kill himself. As far as conspiracy theories go, that's an astonishingly high rate of believers. Well, look, it's not even a conspiracy theory at this point. Maybe the suicide part, but the rest of this is a cover-up. I mean, look, all these coincidences, this can't just be a bunch of coincidences that happen around this situation, right? I mean, there's no way that you're ever going to get me to believe that all of this stuff just happened all at one time. Just over half of Americans believe that the U.S. government is concealing information about 9/11, according to a 2016 poll, and survey suggests that just between 5 and 10% of Americans don't believe the moon landing was real. Well, as far as the 9/11 goes, well, they were withholding information. We had 27 pages redacted from the 9/11 Commission report that dealt with Saudi Arabia. So they were withholding that information from us. So how's that a conspiracy theory? But the Epstein was murdered conspiracy theory seems ubiquitous. Explosive footage released Tuesday showed ABC News anchor Amy Robach saying she believes 100% Epstein was murdered. President Donald Trump suggested in a tweet that Epstein may have been murdered, and a former Navy SEAL invited onto Fox News randomly blurted out Epstein didn't kill himself at the end of his segment. The pervasiveness of a conspiracy theory rooted in anti-government sentiment may come as a surprise to some, but a rising distrust in powerful figures and institutions may explain why #Epstein murder began to trend shortly after his death. Well, it's pretty simple, right? The ruling class continues to abuse those that aren't part of the ruling class and continues to use us as pawns on a chessboard. Go fight in our endless wars. Go sacrifice your blood and your life and your limbs while we sit over here and we laugh about it and have a steak and make pretend we hate each other on the news and then go back to D.C. and yuck it up on our intelligence committee or whatever committee we're sitting on. Epstein's network of global elites hasn't faced consequences, stoking suspicion toward the upper class. Yeah, well, duh. It's either A, people don't care, or B, they're being protected. And I bet you it's a mixture of both, to be honest with you. As wealth and income inequality continue to rise to staggering new heights, distrust of the rich and powerful has also increased. According to a 2018 Pew poll, 75% of Americans believe that trust in the federal government is declining. Younger people, people with less education, and those making less money tended to be less trustful of the government and of each other. According to a 2017 Bloomberg poll, a majority of Americans say they distrust billionaires. Well, why should anyone trust them? Look, I don't begrudge anybody for being rich. Don't get it twisted. I'm not on that bandwagon. If you've worked hard to earn your billions, hey, that's great. But my problem is, why do billionaires believe that it's okay for them to treat people the way that they treat people? Not all of them, obviously. Of course, it's never painting a whole group of people with one brush is never a great idea. It's never something you should do. And I believe that applies to billionaires as well. I'm sure there's great billionaires out there. But what happens is we see all of these disgusting disgustoids who get involved with people like Epstein, and it makes you wonder, why does a guy like Bill Gates need to go hang out with Jeff Epstein? I thought Epstein was only worth $533 million. Bill Gates is worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Why is he cavorting with this dude? Nobody's given me a proper answer for that yet. Oh, it was a mistake. Yeah, that's a mistake, buddy. I got news for you. You know what a mistake is? Betting the wrong football team on Sunday at the window. Hanging out with a convicted pedophile is a little bit more than a mistake. The list of billionaires and power players associated with Epstein and the horrific allegations against him is almost too long to comprehend, and few have faced real consequences or serious probes. Their continued safety from legal scrutiny has only contributed to the backbone of the conspiracy theories that Epstein was killed because of his damaging secrets on powerful figures, and it was covered up by a complicit state. I think that's kind of the layman's definition, obviously. You know how we feel around here. This is all the hallmarks of an intelligence operation, all the hallmarks of the CIA and Mossad. It smells. It absolutely reeks of those people in the intelligence community. Prince Andrew has been defended by the royal family throughout years of allegations. Epstein's former attorney, Alan Dershowitz, has fought back against accuser Virginia Roberts' accusations repeatedly, and no one is coming after him yet. That's not true. He's being sued now by David Boies, and he's being sued by Virginia Roberts. The specific allegations against President Donald Trump are visceral, but the lawsuit was dropped by the Jane Doe herself. People close to Epstein with no accusations directed toward them, like Bill Gates, Lex Wexner has been implicated, and Joy Ito have apologized, and in the latter's case resigned over their dealings with Epstein. The Clintons have perhaps encountered the strongest scrutiny. Bill Clinton traveled on Epstein's plane numerous times, roughly 26, and hosted the pedophile at his office and the White House. And let's not forget, the Clinton Global Foundation and all these other charitable groups Epstein was a big donor to, and he was basically a charter member. As the Epstein theories have dovetailed with conservative and leftist conspiracy theories surrounding the family. #Clinton body count trended along with #Epstein murder after Epstein's suicide. But the anger directed at Trump and the Clintons is as much about the 2016 election as it is about Epstein. Today's most highly publicized conspiracy theories tend to revolve around what happened that November and all that came before it and after it. On the right, we have the pervasive conspiracy theories QAnon and Pizzagate, and on the left is hatred of both Trump and, for the further left, the Clintons. I think the whole Russia thing could be considered a conspiracy theory too, huh, Insider? Progressives and conservatives have their own reasons to support the Epstein conspiracy theory. See, this is the problem with the media. Once again, they're trying to put us in a box. Oh, you're a conservative, you're a progressive, you're blah 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 blah. No, what we are is pissed off. We're pissed off Americans. You could shove the politics, especially on this podcast. Just shove them right up your old wazoo, pal, because we don't care about that here, right? We're looking to find the truth wherever it leads us. And the whole thing about Pizzagate being debunked, you know what? Were they running something out of that pizza shop? No. But there's still other questions that have not been answered. The Podesta emails need to be accounted for. Why is a pizza shop owner, James Alefantis, such an influential person in Washington, D.C.? Can anyone answer that? A pizza shop owner? So let's be real. Was Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton running children from that pizza shop? No, come on, that's silly. Anyone who thought that is insane and is just absolutely crazy. But to think the premise of rich people being involved in being pedophiles, being involved in human trafficking with these young kids and young girls, it was so far out to nobody. Oh yeah, right, sure, that would never happen. And now it smacks you right in the face. Smash right in the face. Like in the movies, or the shows like Three Stooges, when he gets smacked with a wet fish. That's what it's like. Wet! Support for the Epstein murder conspiracy theory on the right stems from existing conspiracy theories involving the Democratic Clinton family. Pizzagate and QAnon, both debunked. I really won't speak on much of that. I don't really follow QAnon. I'm familiar with what it is, but I try to stay out of those rabbit holes, especially now that I'm covering stories like this. And as far as Pizzagate, like I said, the premise that they're talking about Pizzagate, of course, that's been debunked. But the stuff around it, look, there's a lot of stuff around there. There's a lot of smoke. Rest on the theory that the rich and powerful, in particular Democrats, have been running an international child sex trafficking ring. Well, Epstein donated a lot of money to the Democrats, right? He donated a whole bunch of dough. And let's not act like, no powerful people in Washington, D.C. have ever been involved in this. Denny Hastert, ring a bell, folks? Of course, the revelation that there may have actually been an international sex trafficking ring run by Epstein, who was associated with Bill Clinton and some of the most powerful people in the world, only helped spread the ideas. The theories melded with the Clinton body count conspiracy, the baseless allegation. Baseless allegation? Look, let's be honest. Baseless is saying, the Patriots aren't good at football. That's a baseless allegation, right? But to say that people who have been around the Clintons who have ended up dead or murdered is baseless is kind of a stretch as well, no? A baseless allegation that the Clinton family has had over 50 former associates murdered to fuel the Epstein murder conspiracy theory on the American right. See, these are the words that make me really mad. The American right. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? As if it's like this one gigantic force where everybody has the right frame of the same thoughts and the same frame of mind, which has become more willing to accept conspiracy theories and memes amid constant attacks on the media and the echo chambers of social media. Wow, this article is pretty ridiculous. Every now and then we stumble across one of these, right? Where it's written by somebody who's just absolutely has kind of an idea of what's going on, but not really. So I figured that's what this article would be about from this source. But still, I figured it's worth a good read, worth a decent read, right? Epstein murder theories have popped up on both ends of the political spectrum. The possibility that Trump, a former Epstein friend, could have had a hand in Epstein's theoretical murder or subsequent cover-up was convenient fodder for Trump's critics. But what's more interesting to watch has been the embrace of the Epstein murder theory among leftists, whose distrust of centrist Democrats, including the Clinton family, along with the uber-wealthy, has metastasized into a conspiratorial hatred. A study from Emerson Polling found that among Democrats, who on the whole are less likely to believe the theory, Bernie Sanders supporters were most likely to question the official telling of Epstein's death. Sanders, of course, was Hillary Clinton's primary challenger in 2016 and had a fan base that was so intensely anti-Clinton that some blame them for the election of Trump. You're hearing that, Bernie Sanders fans? That's how the mainstream media still feels about you, okay? So remember that when you're going to cast your vote. One study found that 1 in 10 Sanders supporters ended up voting for Trump. While the hatred of Clinton isn't universal among Democrats, vilification of the uber-wealthy and top 1% of earners is common in the party, making Epstein's rich associates easy stand-ins for conspiracy theories. What's the conspiracy theory about the stuff we've talked about with Glenn and Eva Dubin? What's the conspiracy theory about Maria Farmer and Wexner? That's not a conspiracy theory. These are credible allegations. Was it a conspiracy theory when Blasey Ford was talking about Kavanaugh? In terms of meme currency, posts including Epstein murder theories are the best stock in the market. They're cross-generational, catchy, could be true, as is the nature of conspiracy theories. This person is so worried that her hive-minded friends are going to think she's a conspiracy theorist if she even talks about this stuff. So she has to keep, telling people, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. But while we may never have definitive proof to completely support a particular theory on Epstein's death, the facts of the case are bound to continue to serve as inspiration for meme creators across America. A well-connected pedophile who he ran a sex trafficking ring, was murdered before a more thorough investigation could get underway. That's not a conspiracy theory! That's exactly what happened. He was awaiting trial, and he was murdered, or he committed suicide. Either way, that's not a conspiracy theory. Old boy was about to roll. He was gonna rat, and they knew it. What's even better assurance that the meme will continue to spread, though, is the near universal interest critiquing one's political enemies and eating the rich. All right, there you have it from The Insider. Another fantastically written article by the mainstream media, yeah? I mean, if we weren't following this case from the beginning, we'd actually believe the tripe that they're telling us, right? Oh, yeah, there's a conspiracy theory. Everything's a conspiracy theory. Stop reading this and go listen to Jake Tapper. Oh, Don Lemon wants to talk to you. Come on, Sean Hannity wants to have a chat. All right, so in our second article is from the Washington Examiner, and it's pretty funny. A man calling himself Epstein Didn't Kill Himself attempts to run for president. A New Hampshire man attempted to register for a presidential bid in New Hampshire with the nickname Epstein Didn't Kill Himself. Rod Weber, a New Hampshire resident and popular personality during election time, was denied his effort to register for the first-in-the-nation primary on Friday. Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden and entrepreneur Andrew Yang successfully filed in New Hampshire on the same day. Weber, who is popularly known as Flower Man, has long been a fixture during early voting in New Hampshire, which marked its 100th straight year as being the earliest polling place in the nation. Donning a motorcycle helmet and a sign that read Epstein Didn't Kill Himself in red paint, Weber arrived to register his candidacy in New Hampshire with $1,000 and what he thought were all other required documents and criteria. His attempt to enter Epstein Didn't Kill Himself was thwarted, however, when the New Hampshire Secretary of State Bill Gardner told him to come back. Come back with what? Weber said to the roomful of reporters. I've come with the requisite money. I'm over 35. I lived in the United States my entire life. I can use a nickname. New Hampshire law does allow candidates to register with a nickname, but not a political slogan or message. Convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein died in August, aged 66, while awaiting trial for trafficking, rape, assault, and many other crimes. His death in Manhattan jail was ruled a suicide by New York medical examiner, but rumors have swirled that he died at the order of one of his alleged high-profile associates. Epstein was reported to have had connections to former President Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and attorney Alan Dershowitz, among others. This is the second time in 2 election cycles that Gardner has turned me down, Weber said to Law and Crime. In 2015, I tried to register as Flower Man, which was what the press had referred to me as in hundreds of articles. According to state law, this is allowed. Basically, Gardner has decided he gets to choose who gets to run for president or not. In 2015, I was told if I didn't like his decision, I could make a complaint to some committee which he happened to run. Weber remained steadfast in his choice to use the nickname. It doesn't add up, he said. The U.S. government has a long history of covering up crimes of legal and moral nature. This guy's my hero, right? Epstein Didn't Kill Himself is running for president. Imagine? Election day rolls around, right? You walk into the poll. You got your kid waiting for you or your kid's with you or whatever. You scroll down for presidential candidates. And Epstein Didn't Kill Himself made it to the ballot. That would be classic. I wish that was on the ballot here in Nevada. All right, folks. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far. Hope everybody has a great Saturday night. And I hope you guys all enjoy your Sunday. We will be back tomorrow with another Daily Drop.